Recently, there's been a small but growing trend of smartphone users who kind of want to detach themselves from technology. Yes, it's 2019 and we can't live without technology. Technology is everywhere. Your phone, your car, your laptop, it's everywhere and you really need it. I mean, it's very important to have technology. You run businesses using phones. You can't do emails without using a phone or a computer. Stuff like this is really important to have. But it can also be very suffocating. The more technologically advanced your smartphone is, the more you have it in your hand. The average user holds the phone in their hand for like 4 or 5 hours a day. And a lot of people kind of want to detach themselves from that and just live life. We sometimes forget to look and actually see the sky sometimes because our hands just naturally pull out our phone whenever we have free time. It's a thing we trained our minds to do. Well, there is a growing trend of minimalism that tries to deviate from that. Stuff like the Light phone and the Light phone 2 and the Palm Pre offer very minimal functionality. Phone calls, texting, that's basically all you get for a pretty high price. But what if I told you you can get a phone for about $80 that ran the Google Play Store, so you have your full Android suite of apps that you need, but the phone's capabilities are pretty limited by its hardware, to the point where you can only do a minimal amount of things. This is the Xiaomi Redmi Go. It's an Android Go phone. It's not meant to be a minimalist phone. It's supposed to be a really super, super budget phone for lower end markets. However, in my time with it, envisioning it as a minimalistic stylized phone, I actually think it's really good. And here's why I think this is one of the best minimalistic phones you can get on the market right now. So let's start off by talking about what makes this phone actually work, what's behind it. Well, we have a Snapdragon 425 chipset from Qualcomm, which is one of the lowest Qualcomm chipsets. So, it's not meant to do a lot processing power-wise. It has 1 gigabyte of RAM. Go figure. But what makes this phone surprisingly smooth and actually usable is the fact that it runs Android Go. So the Android Go initiative from Google is very unique because we're basically getting a stripped down version of Android specifically made to run on lower end processors. Basically, phones with ridiculously low specs are able to run Android. You get Android Go apps, which I've covered in the unboxing video, and we look at a little more in depth of it in that video. So if you want to watch that, click on the link below. But at the core of it, though, you could still use all the Android apps you want to download. But you are limited by the 8 gigabytes of onboard storage, although there is a micro SD card slot that you can throw up to 128 gigabytes of expandable storage. But regardless of the fact, even if you download the apps that you want and the storage wasn't a problem, the apps probably won't run, the full body of apps probably won't run that well on this phone either. It can maybe play certain games, but that's not the point. The point of this phone that a lot of people should look at this phone for is if you want to detach yourself and just use a phone like we used to use the phone for, a phone call, text message. This is terrific because it also gives you that little blanket space. You can still download Lyft. You can still download Uber. If you need to call a ride because you live in the city, boom, you still got this option. Whereas if you use something like the Light phone, I know the Light phone 2 will have that availability, but you're looking at a really expensive phone there. This is only $75. It ranges around the 70 range. Not only does it run the Android Go software to utilize this price point, but the build quality of this phone is surprisingly good. I mean, yeah, it's a $75 phone, but as I mentioned in the unboxing video, the curves on the back, you just don't get that from phones underneath $100. Like, they didn't need to do that. It could be a flat plastic back, but instead, on the back, you have nice curves on the side that wrap around your grip really nicely, just like you would on a Galaxy S6, 7, or 8. And one aspect of this phone that actually really surprised me was the screen quality. We're looking at a 5-inch 720p screen with a pixel density of 296 ppi. That's actually really good. Surprisingly, the screen quality is really, really good for this price point. I was not deterred by the screen. That's what that's the best way to put it. Watching videos, looking at my wallpaper, the color saturation and the sharpness of the images, I was pleasantly surprised. We're talking about battery too, because this phone is so limited in its capabilities and what you can do with it. you won't find yourself playing games. You won't find yourself watching too many videos too long. And that's actually good for the battery life. That means the battery life can last a long time. I went, I think, about 3 days, mostly idle time, just using this for phone calls and text messages without charging the phone. 3 to 4 days of idle time. And it charges through micro USB, which it's fine. It is what it is. It's only a $75 phone. And that's really all that's worth talking about with this Redmi Go. You're not going to be taking photos of it. Yes, it has a 8 megapixel back camera, and it shoots 1080p video at 30 frames per second. But the quality of the photos and the videos, I mean, guys, it's a $75 phone running Android Go. You're not expecting a good camera. The camera it's just there, guys. There's no NFC here, which is a little bit of a bummer, and this is something that I really wish Xiaomi could have thrown onto here. I know NFC costs a little bit more money, but NFC chips are really cheap nowadays. They could have easily thrown it on here and just raised the price a little bit, and people would still probably buy it. And the reason I say that is if you factor in this whole minimalistic style or using this as a secondary phone, you can leave your actual phone down, and if this had NFC, you could have paid at a grocery store, at Target, or you could have went to the bank and used it as an ATM card through Google Pay. That would have been terrific to have on this phone. I think that was a slight missed opportunity there. And I am curious to see if any Android Go phones will have NFC. To my knowledge, I don't think a single one has it. If you find one that does, please leave a comment below so I can check that one out too. But I think an Android Go phone with NFC would just be killer. It really would. So to wrap it up, I do have to say I am pretty happy with the Redmi Go. I do recommend it as a minimalistic phone if you're looking for something like that. It will more than be enough for you. And if you are looking for a backup phone, I think it's also a great backup phone. It does everything you need to do. It calls, it texts, and it also has the Google Play Store for certain apps that you need to use that you really have to use. But it'll also help you keep an eye on your smartphone usage and kind of weed out the things you don't really need to do. So my name is Alex with Tech. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think of minimalistic phones. Could you ever try one and use it in your daily life? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.
And that's it. Be sure to subscribe here. Hit the bell button so you don't miss any of our videos. And check out our other videos right here. Until next time,